Hello, and welcome to another live coaching. It's me, your coach and host, Graham Ezzy, and I'm back in Germany after a very fun, very successful windsurfing masterclass in Gran Canaria. We had a lot of wind and we actually had a lot of waves, a lot of waves. It was startling for summertime conditions. There was one day where there was no wind and overhead surf in Pozo. Really good surfing, overhead surf. We had a great group and it was a lot of fun. Um, I am now in St. Peter Ording for a few days with the family, and I'm not planning to windsurf here. I'm not set up for it. After that long trip to Gran Canaria, I got on the water a lot. Now it's time to spend some time with the family, get some work done, and get ready to go back to. Oh, I cut out for a second, and get ready to head back to Maui. I fly back to Maui this month. And if you are interested in joining the Maui Masterclass, applications are up. The easiest way to apply is to go to windsurfingmasterclass.com. The website looks like this. I can show you what it looks like up there. So you go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, and then you can go apply here, want to experience a windsurfing masterclass in person, or up here, hit masterclass schedule. This will take you to the masterclass schedule. And we've got the application for the Maui masterclass, September 13th to 20th. And you just go through, fill out this application, takes a few minutes, make sure everyone in the masterclass is at the right level, the right setup for the masterclass. All right, I am going to get the Facebook group set up. We're going to go through it. You guys know the drill. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free to interrupt me as we go through. All right, let's sort this by new posts. All right, so questions specifically for this week. We've got a question from Tomas, which, by the way, let's do a post. Hold on, before we get into this, let's do a quick post. Head up to YouTube and and share this, copy, and put this in the group. We are live. There we go. There we go. In the group. All right. Now we can get into the Facebook coaching. We've got Jorg. 4 sessions this week in southern Sweden. Jorg, I say this every time. I love how much you get on the water. I think a lot of people don't think of Sweden as being a hotspot for windsurfing, and you are proving them wrong. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, so first up, we got a question from Tomas. How was the masterclass in Gran Canaria? Like I said, it was really good. We had wind almost every day. We had a good surfing day. I think we had wind every day of the masterclass, and I was there for, I think it was like 12 days, and there were 11 days of wind for my trip. Gran Canaria, great wind statistics. And if you know where to go, there's also some very fun wave sailing to be had. It was amazing. On the last day, I was with Joe, who was also on the masterclass, and we had been staying together. And we were out alone, overhead waves on 4.2s in a spot that's not so secret. And yeah, just crazy. So much fun. So it was a very good time, a lot of good learning, a lot of good instruction, a lot of good socializing as well. So it was everything that I think most people want to get out of a masterclass experience. So very, very much good. All right. Next question is from Jorg. Can free ride, free racing help you improve your wave riding skills? any particular things one can practice for wave riding apart from just having fun on the water? The reason for asking is that I have an old set of free ride, Taboo and 7.2 Neoprite Slalom, and hasn't used it for 10 years. Always tends to use the freestyle board in those conditions, but it could be fun to go on the equipment again. Okay, this is a very interesting question. Very interesting question. I'm going to think about this, let it set in. In fact, I'm going to ask the chat, what do you think? Do you think that in your free riding that it helps your wave riding? Do you think your free riding helps your wave riding? And then I'm gonna give my take in a second because I do have thoughts on this. We got Axel joining us from Hands Thumb. Axel had 3 sessions this week. Awesome. Suna as well in Denmark had a great session with some of the Masterclass crew. I love it. Matt in the UK had a light wind session, and tomorrow is going to be stormy. Harold was in Gran Canaria with us. Good evening, Harold. Christoph is in Waddell, flat but winding. Good training for fast tacks and forwards. Fast tacks and forwards. What more do we need? I feel like that's 90% of what everyone wants to be doing on a windsurf board. Fast tacks and forwards. I love it. So if you have an answer to York's question, throw it in the chat. How has your free riding or free racing helped improve your wave riding skills? All right, here is my first response, and that is that training going fast is going to help you a lot with jumping. One of the things that I see people not doing correctly with the jumping is they're not going very fast. They're not going very fast. And when they are going a little bit fast, their board is not set flat in the water. It's going all over the place. And going fast and having a set board are very important for jumping higher and just in general improving in your jumps. So that is something that you can train with free riding. And if you have some tips, post it in the chat. Something that I tell people is the feeling of scissoring your legs can help, or even squeezing your legs together can help set the board down, give you control over the board. Pushing through your toes also can help with the speed and control of the board. And that feeling of being fully sheeted in with the board wanting to come off the water and you're keeping it tracking, going fast as you can, is a very good feeling to know and a skill to have in your arsenal so that when you get into waves and you want to jump, you know how to do it. Something you can do as well with friends is race each other, drag racing. Just say, all right, we're going to start. Who can go faster? Start more or less at the same time and see if one person can break ahead of the other one. And you can keep doing that back and forth, back and forth. And it's a lot of fun. We did a little bit of drag racing in Morocco with some of the guys on the masterclass. And it's good training, really good training for the jumping. For the actual wave riding, there's maybe less to be learned. But I think free riding in general, getting used to big sails, going fast has benefit. You're comparing it to the freestyle conditions, and freestyle is probably going to have more crossover to the wave riding. But if you can do both, do both. All right, here's a video from Martin. And this looks like his kid. Look at that. He's using an inflatable sail on an iSup. Look at that. It looks pretty funny, but it looks like it's working. Definitely great for teaching the basics of harnessing the wind. We've got George in the chat. G. Luke in Northern California. Rest week, but hopefully flat water this afternoon. Get me some footage for the flockas. In fact, I will post in the group some tips from the last Flocka video that you posted. And then we're going to have our final Flocka workshop on Thursday, this coming Thursday. So just a heads up, I'll go through the footage you posted from the gorge. And maybe that can help today in your Palo Alto session. We got Max as well in the chat, and he says, big storm tomorrow. You going to get on the water? I want to see it. All right, Ragnar has got a crack in this on the back end of his boom on the clips. And, people are saying to change it. I don't know if you even need to change it. That piece is doing very, very little. So the pins are important. And a crack in that direction on the clips, I'm not sure if it matters. If the crack travels or if you feel like the pins are loose, then you can replace it. But my feeling, if it was mine, I wouldn't be so worried because there's no load going through there. If it was a different piece, like on the head of the boom, on the plastic on the head, or on the back end of the boom, I would be a lot more worried. But yeah, there's no load. And if you do want to replace it, the back end clips are very easy to replace. The trick, this is the trick, because if anyone has tried to remove them without knowing the trick, they're going to feel difficult to remove. And there's one trick that you can do to make them so easy to come off, like butter. Pour boiling water on them. Pour boiling water on them. And that will break down the glue that holds them on, and you can just slide them right off. And then you can slide the new ones right on. And you don't need to glue them on. Every time I've replaced my back end clips, I just slide them right on. So they're very easy to replace, but I don't think that it's a issue having the crack there. That doesn't mean that every boom crack is something you shouldn't worry about. But this one on the back end, I don't see a problem. I don't see any load. All right, we got Leo in the chat. Hello, Leo. Anyone going to Hantham on Tuesday? I was checking the forecast, and it does look crazy, crazy. I think this whole week looks good, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of the Masterclass crew on the water up there. I have some other commitments. I think it's pretty much impossible that I'm going to make it up to Denmark, even though I would love to. But I've got some family commitments. I've been gone for 2 weeks in Gran Canaria. Got some family commitments here in Hamburg. My sister-in-law is getting married on the weekend. So there's a lot going on in terms of my family life. And this is something I talk about when I'm talking about planning your windsurfing life. And it's making these deals, right? And so I've been gone for 2 weeks in Gran Canaria. And the month before, I was gone for 2 weeks in Morocco. And I have these deals with my family that windsurfing is my job and it's a big priority. But for certain weeks, certain times of the year, certain events for uh, my wife or her family or our family, I'm there, and it doesn't matter if it's windy. But the point is that in other times of the year, windsurfing is the priority. And if you have this ability to rotate in your life rather than have everything be kind of equal priority all the time, then it's really difficult because either you're missing windsurfing sessions, which sucks, or you're going on windsurfing sessions and it's causing conflict with your partner or with your family. And so it's very important, I think, to have these seasons and these trade-offs where it's not like a half-half commitment. It's like you're fully committing sometimes to one thing and fully committing other times to something else. So you're always 100% committed, but just not always the same thing. So it's a balance of extremes. A balance of extremes is something that I've always thought is a better solution than compromise. And a lot of things in life, but especially when it comes to planning out your windsurfing, a balance of extremes. All right, we got Mike in the chat, Mike in Exeter. You got good wind in Cornwall. I'm stoked for you. All right, let's keep going through the Facebook group. Again, if you've got a question, something that's burning on your mind about windsurfing or anything windsurfing adjacent, or just whatever, throw it in the chat. All right, we got Lorenzo, and he is going to Brittany in France and wants to know the best spot. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the best spot is. Best spot, but lots of windsurfing. What time of year are you going? And where will you be staying? Because that matters for Brittany. It's a big area, and yeah, depends where you are, and there you can drive around. But yeah, lots of good windsurfing there. I'm sure we've got some good advice from people in the group. Uh, it won't be me. I'm not an expert for Brittany, even though I have windsurfed there before, but I'm not the expert. All right, next up, we've got a question from Jorg. Wavewriting spots are quite different, and you've noticed that the waves break different, which is natural. For example, on a starboard spot where it is a point break, the wave breaks starting close to land, and then the break kind of travels in the starboard direction. Now, should I go to hit the corner pocket, even if the wave is coming from the wrong direction? With wrong direction, he means that the wave, the power source is behind you rather than sailing towards you. Sometimes the wave breaks further down the line, which then creates a corner pocket to sail towards, but in some cases it doesn't. Um, Yes. So this is interesting because we're talking about the anatomy of waves a lot of the time. And in a lot of ways, the wave breaking with you in your direction is the right direction. Like if you're surfing, that's what you want. The corner pocket is something that I talk about a lot, not because it's the only part of the wave to hit, but because it's the easiest part of the wave to time. And so it's the easiest part of the wave where you can still get a good, radical, hard off the lip. And so if you're trying to level up your off the lip game, going for corner pockets is going to give you the most bang for your buck, and it's going to deliver the most. But that doesn't mean that it's the only section to go for. We've got open face turns, we've got turns with the wave. There are a lot of different kinds of sections to hit. If you have a perfect point break that's peeling with you, so it's going away from you, or in the direction that you're traveling, that's a great thing. It's not something to be sad about. And you're not going to be looking for corner pockets. Yes, there might be some sections that they could break in front of you and you're going to be able to get a corner pocket. But mostly you're turning with the wave, and it's going to be harder to get the timing to get an off the lip. But I would say that let's not be disappointed by that, because we want to have waves that are nice and peeling, and that will allow us to have a lot of turns. And what you're aiming for is turns on the face. So in the, what we call the pocket or the wall of the wave, depending on where you are on the wave. And so you want to be aiming for a different kind of turn. And in those conditions, it's mostly going to be carving turns on the steep wall of the wave, or right under the part of the wave that's starting to break. Uh, and it's going to be a different kind of turn. And as you increase your skill, you are going to be able to time it so that you are hitting the section that's throwing. But it's a much more difficult timing to make. And it's a great fun kind of wave to sail, but you're not going to get the same kind of backdoor connection with the lip. All right, wins. Time for wins. We do this every month. I love reading of everyone's wins. Tomas bringing his nephew to Handsome. Axel and Handsome. Lots of Handsome. Dom Dom. Look at this. Dom Dom in June. Look at that. That's a nice forward. Can we make this bigger? No, we can't make it bigger. Facebook doesn't like the videos that are posted in the comments. So if you have a video that you really want to post, I mean, we can watch this, but don't post it in the comments. We can make it bigger. That kind of works. Beautiful forward. I like the horizontal technique. Oh, look at that bail. Why did that stop? Oh, we're just repeating again. Yeah, Dom I'm killing it in June. Jorg had a mixed month with wavewriting and freestyle, staying true to his promise, going far out and staying in the wave zone when wavewriting. Nice. Doing a lot of tacking and waiting for the wave to come and ride it. Peter had 8 sessions this month, which is not too bad for a West Oz winter. Love the strong winds that the storm fronts bring, and the rain hasn't been bad. Nice. Cool. I love it. Kevin said a few onshore sessions at his local. Unusual for this time of year, trying some backside airs. Nice. Also tacking practice. Dennis had 5 sessions in a row in Henstham. Wow. Nice. Look at that. Boom. Dennis, you're flying on the waves, man. Flying. I love the speed. I love the speed in these turns. Boom. Hitting it. Look at all these turns. Look at all these turns. Nice. Under the lip. Coming around. Smacking it. Boom. Look at the speed. Yeah. I love it. Dennis is an alum from multiple in-person masterclasses, and he's been an active member in our community for a long time. Way to go. Could you guys see the video when I was playing it? I want to make sure you can see it. Can you see it? We'll play it again. We got Joe as well in the chat. Joe is gearing up for a Cornwall session with Mike. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Mark is making more tacks than missing them. Nice. Mark is an alum of Windsurfing Masterclass in person, but also the Fast Tack course online. If you want to improve your tacks, go to my.windsurfingmasterclass.com. Check out Fast Tack Secrets. Check this out. Front sides in El Medino. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Everyone's learning, having fun. It's been a good, productive summer. Stefan wants to know about traveling with Emirates. I know nothing about traveling with Emirates, so hopefully you guys have some good advice for him. Sounds like you do. Sounds good. My rule, I think it's good. It's good to experiment, but I try to stay with Star Alliance because I know how they work. I've got status with them. And so I try to stay within that network because I know how they work. Sometimes I'll go out of it, like with Condor or EasyJet, or I used to fly a lot with Norwegian. They don't seem to have the same routes that they used to have. So not always Star Alliance, but mostly. And I like to know what the baggage policy is of the airlines that I'm flying. So good to make a post like this. If you see tickets from airline like Emirates and you're not sure, put it in the group. Put it in the group. All right. Like that, we are all caught up. We're all caught up. This was something that I can't remember if we talked about it, but this was a request from Oliver. It's a carving wave 360 to lee side ride on the face. Very fun move. I recommend this to pretty much everyone. If you're in the waves, if you can jibe, this is a move that you can try to work on. You might not land it right away, but it's a good move to go for. And with that, we are done. If you've got a question, comment, video, concern, photo, all of the above, any of the above, none of the above, post it in the Facebook group and we'll talk about it during the week, and I will cover it during the live coaching next week, Sunday. I will see you all here at that time. And until then, I hope you have a windy week, which it seems like you will. There's a lot of storms and wind in Europe at the moment. So I'm expecting some good